New intro, yeah.
That was the coolest intro. I'm so here for that.
And look, we got Gideon who's joining us this morning
Hello,
as well.
Catbutt.
Yes. How's everyone going this morning? Thank you guys for joining us. So if you don't know who Margie is an Olympic weightlifter who used to be, excuse you, sir, who used to lift here in Orange County. And she's now in an undisclosed location. We won't dox you too soon, but she is competing right now at the. Can you tell us your weight class again?
Yeah, sure. I'm currently an 87 kilo weightlifter, but I'm
Okay.
on my way down to like a 76 kilo.
Okay.
Basically,
Awesome.
if you put that into like pounds, I'm like 200 pounds and I want to be more like 170.
Okay. And what were you competing before then?
What was I competing at? As I've
Yes.
competed as a 71 and a 76 and an 87. So I've competed kind of a couple different weight classes.
Okay. And for those of you, or for people who might not know the sport, or for those of you who like might not understand how the kilos work or how the weight classes work, is that predetermined by your coach? Is that predetermined by you? How do they normally put you into those weight classes?
So weight classes are kind of based off of where your body weight is currently sitting. You have to be under that or exactly on that specific, like I'm 87 kilos. So in order to compete as an 87, I have to be 87.00 kilos the morning of the event. So in order to qualify for an event, you have to hit the numbers that are appropriate for that weight class. So for certain events, the higher the weight class, the higher the kilo total will be. And I've competed as lower weight classes when I didn't have as much muscle on my body. And I've competed as higher classes when I've had a little more muscle and a little more cookies on my body. So at the moment, I've got a whole lot of muscle and a whole lot of peanut butter sandwiches. So I'm competing as an 87.
And that's great though, because and you and I have talked about this before, but I feel like you feel healthier at this weight class. You feel stronger at this weight class because you're allowed to, like you said, gain a lot of muscle, but also have a little bit of extra peanut butter sandwiches on the side, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, it's all really calculated. So, I mean, I joke about peanut butter sandwiches, but in all reality, last night I had steak, broccoli, and rice for dinner. So, I mean,
Yep,
it's not
there you go.
nothing exciting. But if I do want to have like, it does provide more freedom than having to make sure that I'm constantly doing cardio or having to focus on anything other than like, how much weight are we going to back squat today?
Yeah. And I kind of so honestly, why I brought you on is because the channel is normally, like, as you can see, pop culture, comic books, superhero
Yeah.
stuff like that. And for everyone who's watching, Margie and I have been friends since probably middle school. And we played in the, this is going to be, you thought I was nerdy with this stuff. This is going to be extremely nerdy. We played in the church band.
He played the bass, I played
Yep.
the keyboard, and I had a fat crush on him.
and she played keyboard and vocals, like background.
Oh yeah, I
vocals,
forgot
I'm
about that.
pretty sure,
I did.
and so yeah, we both had that like cute little Christian crush on each other, where it's like, oh, you did great playing the keyboard today, and that's like
I really like the way you slap that bass.
slap that bass, girl. So many innuendos, but
oh yeah.
So we've known each other for the longest time, all throughout high school and college, and we've gone through these different career paths, but consistently, no matter what, comic books have always been a big part of my life, and pop culture has always been a big part of my life. And one thing that I see consistently, with not just with you, but with our friendship and everything, is the strong female character that is like in real life. Because right now Hollywood is doing a very poor job of what they think they want to publicize as what they think a female character is, and what they think everyone else should accept as a strong female character.
Yeah.
But what they don't understand, and I'm not just talking Disney, I'm talking Hollywood in general,
Right, yeah.
is is I think that people can benefit from hearing from you and hearing from your story, because as an actual strong female, like physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, all that stuff, you've had to deal with an extreme amount of trials. And we've lived through those and continued through those and pursued victories through those. But
And some
Hollywood
losses,
seems,
not just
yeah,
victories.
yeah, and some losses for sure. And that's the thing though, is like Hollywood doesn't want to give their female characters losses. They
Right.
always just want to be like, you're the best, you're perfect. Nothing's ever wrong, you know? And that's
Or
just
if it
not
is a
the
loss,
truth.
it's a loss of a child or
Mm,
a loss of a dream, or
mhm.
something along those lines. It's something of the more touching emotional aspect.
Right, right. And so that's why I was really excited to have you on here, and why I, you know, had you on here and introduced you on here, because like I said, I think people would be extremely excited and kind of they're looking for truth, and they're looking for like um what's the right word? A breath of fresh air,
Hmm.
essentially, from the nonsense and the virtue signaling that's being pushed onto them through their escapism, which is
Yeah.
like comic books and movies and stuff. So
Yeah.
so with that, go ahead and introduce more of yourself, how you started lifting, how lifting got you through some, you know,
Yeah.
whatever it was that you were dealing with, and how it's helped you now, where you go in the, you know, where you want to go in the future with this. And I will actually make you a little bit bigger so that
Awesome.
we can see you. Yeah.
Great. People can see the boogers up my nose if I. Thank you for the launch pad. I hate it when people are like, "Hey, introduce yourself." And I'm like, "I'm Margie." Okay, so yeah, I got into weightlifting like probably right around 2015. I actually got into running, which is the worst, and I will never do
Yes.
it again. If I'm running, you should be running faster because something's chasing me. Because actually, I was engaged. It was just before I had turned 21, and I was engaged, or just about to be engaged. It was really squirrely, into a really abusive relationship. Um, in the moment, I thought that that's how relationships were because, again, and personally, I grew up watching my parents in an abusive relationship. They are now, fortunately, separated and divorced, and we literally live on opposite ends of the continent, um, very intentionally. So I got to a point where I went to my doctor and I was just like, in full honesty, I'm depressed. I am gaining weight. I am lying around like a potato, and I don't want to do this anymore. What do you recommend? So he said we could put you on meds. And at the time, that sounded like a crutch. And that's not what I wanted. Now I'm on meds and they're wonderful. But at the time, I thought that meds were weakness. So he was like, well, why don't you start working out? Why don't you start, something? So I downloaded a Couch to 5K app on my phone. And it literally, like, you put your little headphones in, and it says run 30 seconds. And then you run for 30 seconds. And it's walk 30 seconds. And then you walk for 30 seconds. And it eventually builds you up to the point where you're running 3.1 miles. And then you download the next, then it's, 3 or 5K to 10K. And then it's 10K to half marathon. So you eventually get running into that. And I discovered that I hated running so very much. So that led to a boot camp, which was super fun because I realized in the boot camp, I'm way stronger than some of these girls are. And I don't like when I walk up to a bar and a guy's like, "Excuse me, that's the heaviest bar. Can I use that?" And I'm like, I got here first, pal. I don't care that it's the heaviest bar and you happen to be a guy. I go use a girl's bar. Go use a lighter bar. Sorry, do something else in boot camp. So I switched over to CrossFit, and CrossFit was great for me. CrossFit still had the running, which I thought was just that's what you did for fitness is you must run, you must cardio because that's what they tell women that women when they're supposed to do workout stuff, we're stuck on an elliptical machine, we're stuck on a bike, we're stuck on a treadmill. So I was like, we're still running, that's still healthy, but also I get to do this fun thing called weightlifting, and this is great, and I get to lift super heavy with absolute shit form because it's CrossFit. But then one of the ladies who was at my CrossFit actually was also an Olympic weightlifter as well. So she would come along, and I had some private classes with her, and she had classes every Friday morning that were specifically for working on form. And she at one point was like, so I notice you don't actually like running and you're garbage of gymnastics. Do you want to try Olympic weightlifting more? And I was like, are you saying I just get to heavy lift? She was like, yeah. So I switched over to SoCal weightlifting, which is where I was in Southern California, where they didn't require me to run. They didn't require, handstand push-ups or any muscle ups or bar muscle ups or any pull. Well, okay, they tricked me with the pull-ups. We did have to do pull-ups, but it wasn't like every single day like I had to with CrossFit.
That's how they get you in the Marine Corps too. They go,
That's
yeah,
what
you
I've
just gotta
heard.
like run and do some pull or some push-ups and some crunches and you're good. They don't tell you have to do 23 to 25 pull-ups depending on your age group. So yeah, so
Yeah,
it's
and then you get in the Marine Corps or the Army or whatever. My fiance is in the Army, or
yes,
was in
that's
the
right.
Army. But you
Okay.
get into all of these different groups, and it's like, oh, by the way, today's a 27-mile run with a ruck. Let's go.
Yeah.
It's 100 outside. Suck it up.
With all your gear and a 100-pound pack on, let's do it. So yeah, so they
No,
kind of so they what do you call it? So they kind of tricked you into that, and then you
yeah,
started
but then
realizing, yeah.
I fell in love with it, and I got good at it. And one of the things that I really appreciated that I learned in weightlifting is it started, and this is where I feel like I started to heal from. It sounds so stupid, though. I'm and don't laugh at me, but I started to heal from modern culture. Um, it was completely normal to walk into a gym and say, "Oh, I'm on my period today. I'm gonna lift like crap." And the first time I heard someone say that, I was like, "Shh, why would you say that?" Until it became normal, and your coach, before a meet, your coach would go, "Have you pooped this morning? What's your body weight looking like? Are you on your period? Have you pooped?" And you're like, "I'm not telling you that private information," until it came to the point where it was like, no, I didn't. I need to have some coffee. No, I'm not on my period. And I weigh this today, I weigh X amount of weight. All of a sudden, talking about your weight, instead of me saying, yeah, I'm 200 pounds, that's a lot. Like, I'm super fat. Like, it's whatever. That's just, it took away the stigma of talking about normal body functions that everybody has and you can't avoid. And it took away the stigma of talking about body weight, because body weight necessarily doesn't revolve around, I'm 200 pounds, but I'm not what society would say. For women to be 200 pounds, you're probably a fat cow. I'm
Mm.
not. And I don't like talking about women like that, because then if you look at, some super famous Olympians, Sarah Robles, for example, she is a heavyweight. She's fucking strong. Who cares about her weight? So it turned into, and started switching my brain from how much weight is on your body determines your worth in society and your
Mm.
worth in men's eyes, to how much weight is on your body depends on how you woke up this morning, because you might have just had an accidental salt lick for dinner, or you haven't gone to the bathroom, or also, like, who cares? Go lift. Come lift with me. You're hot. Take your shirt off. You have a little bit of, my little peanut butter pooch is what I call it, or like my little ice cream pooch, that little thing that women have at the bottom, that little spot. Who cares? We all have it. And it took away the where's your six pack for guys, because you've got the glorification of the dad bod in today's society. But also, if you're a tank who can lift a lot, or even a tank who can lift a little, like, it's just people being people, picking up heavy weights and setting them back down again.
Yeah.
That was a really long way of answering that question.
And I remember you also saying that it's like, well, first of all, thank you so much for sharing that, because it is an opportunity where you guys can all be equal,
Yeah,
no matter what weight class you're in, no matter how much you're lifting, whether you're lifting just the bar to work on form or to
right.
work on whatnot, or
Yeah,
whether you're lifting 400 pounds. um, Everyone is on the same playing field, because everyone is trying to get to a point where they are either at an amateur level or a professional
right.
level, and you guys are all trying to get there, which I love. But I also remember you saying, on a less emotional level and more of just a physical level, it's great because if you're angry, you just get your emotions out. You just
Easy there,
really,
Chachi.
I know, right? um, yeah, maybe I'm drinking too much coffee. Um, but yeah, it's like a way for you. It was like with when I played football in college, you had a bad day, you always knew that you could go to practice and just nail someone, you could nail a grown man and not be arrested for it, by like
Exactly.
tackling him or putting on your pads and your helmet and just throwing yourself into the middle of the field.
Right.
And that's kind
There
of
is
what
a
you can do
degree
there.
to
You can,
which, depending on the movement, so Olympic weightlifting has two movements. We have what's called a snatch. So you basically you're sitting at the bottom of, you have your hands on the bar that's at the bottom. And in one smooth movement, you put the bar overhead, standing all the way up, putting the bar overhead. That's one movement. Golly, that's one movement. And it takes a lot of thought. It takes a lot of technique. It takes a lot of control. And it's a technique move, not a strength move. So if I come into a snatch with I had a shitty day and this is how I'm feeling and work did this and my boyfriend said that and my mom said this and I got in this fight, I'm going nowhere with my snatch.
yeah.
But if you're approaching a clean and jerk, so just cleaning the bar up here and jerking it up overhead, if you're approaching a clean and jerk, that's all grit. That's all mental strength. That's all, that's where you can use that fuel of my boss lipped me today and I'm not happy with that. So there is the balance of also learning to then control. If I'm approaching my snatch, I have to focus on put everything away that happened today, put my left hand on the bar, put my right hand to the bar, pull my lats back, go. Versus clean and jerk is like rip it and grip it, let's go. Yeah. I mean, there's technique to it.
Yeah, of course, but
it's heavy. It's
less so than the
okay. Yeah. That's the get the aggression out. That's when the bar's overhead, you can drop it and roar, and you're moving on.
Yeah. And actually, let's see if we can bring up some photos of you actually lifting some weight.
That's at my most recent meet.
Okay. And so this is, how much weight is this? Do you remember how much weight this was that you were putting up?
65, 75, 80. That's like 80 kilos right there on the bar. I think that looks like it's probably about 80 kilos.
Okay, nice. But yeah, like this is at your new weight class, correct?
Yes, that's me sitting at 87 kilos. So again, that's me at 200 pounds. Like, that's not so bad.
Yeah. No, I mean, you look fantastic for being in your weight class and moving that type of weight. And then this is another competition that you were in, but this was a lighter weight class.
Yes, that's me sitting at 71. That was my first ever national meet. So that was taken in Las Vegas. It was my first national meet. I have the tendency to make really ugly faces when I lift, but whatever gets it done.
No, come on. This one's great. That's not
I hit actually a PR on a national platform. So that was me celebrating a lift I barely missed. I got all white lights for it. Nice. So that's like, man, I was so tiny in that. I'm like 145 pounds or something like that. But
I love that, like, you've lifted the weight over your head and you know that you're gonna like get the what is it, the white lights you said?
Yeah, the white lights.
And so you're just like, you know what? It doesn't even matter. I'm gonna smile at this one. It's great. But yeah, you sent me this one and I absolutely love this one because I think that's your mom in the back and the judges and everything. And I was
that's
like,
my mom and those are my teammates. Yeah, there's
so
a little bit more muscle on me in that. Just
you can definitely tell the differences between your different weight classes, but if it enables you to lift the heavier weight and be in a better place physically, mentally, like, what's stopping you from going even further down that road? So let's see. I want to share our screen with you that I showed you backstage.
All right, let's go.
Yeah. So before I get into it though, this is a little bit of old news because everyone was talking about it when it first came out, and I was like, man, I really want to try and get Margie on here. But I think I ended up calling you or texting you, and we ended up talking that way. And I was like, this would be a great talking point, or this would be a great show, or whatnot. And so let me go ahead and pull it up because obviously everyone is aware of Laurel.
That's not what I thought you were gonna pull up.
Okay, what did you think I was gonna pull up?
Not this.
Oh, okay. So yeah, Laurel Hubbard, who a while ago competed in the Olympics and was the first openly transgender woman to compete. And yeah, New York Times posts that she stokes debate in fairness. Um, there have been a ton of different opinions on this.
Yeah.
I've even seen some of um, your female
Cohorts.
co-athletes, cohorts, yeah, if you will, literally crying, in videos saying, the sport that I have trained and the sport that I've loved and the sport that I've like come to have a passion for the past, however many years is now being taken over by people who think that they can just take the sport from us now and compete in this thing that we've been training for years for and blah blah. And so it was very gut wrenching,
Yeah.
because you feel this, you feel bad for these athletes who have trained all their life, and then here comes this 40-year-old, 43-year-old dude who thinks he's something else or says that he's something else because he can't compete in his weight class, in his amateur weight class. So he says, you know what, and it was just a matter of time, like back in 2016 when this was like really just kind of like we were seeing inklings of this, and like people were making jokes like, yeah, the next thing we'll see like a dude lifting for women's Olympics. And then sure enough, 2021 we actually get that.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to read the article or anything because I think a lot of people know about the situation, and if you
Yeah, it went
don't,
very, very viral.
right. So if you guys don't, definitely take a look at it. And you are, hey, that's why I love this platform, or not this platform, but this fellowship, this community, because everyone's a free thinker, and you have the right to your own opinion. So definitely look this article up if you haven't already. But for Margie, as someone who competes in this, who this is her passion, this is something that she has devoted hundreds of thousands of hours to. Let's get your take on this because I'm interested. We talked about it, like I said, a while ago,
Yeah.
but refresh me.
Sure. Man, I have a
Yeah,
lot to
right.
say about this.
Yeah.
To be clear, you mentioned that he couldn't compete as, or I'm going to use her proper pronouns,
Okay.
just for the purpose of this conversation.
Yeah,
So
of
you
course.
mentioned that she could not compete as a man because of her strength.
Mhm.
So just for everyone's reference, men and women have different numbers that they must hit in order to qualify for something. So I mentioned that earlier. So even if they have similar weight classes, a man will have substantially more weight that they must lift in order to qualify for something as big as, say, the Olympics, which is the creme de la creme for weightlifters. It does not get higher than the Olympics. That is the ultimate meet. And it's extremely challenging to get there. Shocking. But same with women. They have also weights that are crazy high, but even if you're in a similar weight class, the women's weight are going to be a little bit lower than the men's weight. So him saying, Max, you saying that he couldn't lift as a man and instead could as a woman is very accurate. And part of that is due to hormones, which actually, I don't know if I told you this, Max, but the IWF, so the International Weightlifting Committee, just about this year took the Olympic weightlifting out of the Olympics because of issues that we've had with doping. Thailand in particular was not allowed to compete in the Olympics because of issues that they have with doping. And it was also, it wasn't Korea because they competed, but there was another group in like Southeast Asia that wasn't allowed to compete because of doping. Russia tends to have a big problem with that because you can cycle on and off any type of banned substance in order to gain strength. And
It has
as
to be
long as it's
within like a year, right?
not even,
Like, oh,
it's less than that. Even if it's not, I think it takes 3 months to cycle off in order to have it not pop on a test.
okay.
And the test is, that's funny. But the test, not the testosterone, the actual
Yeah,
like
yeah. The
panel that they
exam.
do on,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
exactly. The like panel that they do on your blood and on your urine is very, for a very specific set of drugs. anabolics and steroids and anything along those lines. So for a man who a natural born man is going to have more testosterone in his body than a natural born woman. So there are going to be those debates of Laurel is going to have more testosterone than a natural born woman. There have also been the debates, of course, that we've brought up between, and I know I saw them too, and probably you did, about the runners who were prohibited from running in the Olympics because they had more natural testosterone than a man did. I'm sorry, than a natural born woman did. Some women have higher testosterone. A lot of women that you see in competitions will have higher testosterone than another woman may, especially if they have something wrong with them. So I've got what's called polycystic ovarian syndrome. And part of that means that my testosterone in my body is going to be significantly higher than your normal plain Jane may. So that's definitely one aspect of it, is that she's going to have more testosterone in her body, which then gives her an unfair advantage. I understand that they're also monitoring her testosterone and they're giving her estrogen and they're constantly testing her levels to make sure that she's even. I get that. I understand that argument. However, she does have that natural born advantage because she was born a man. And that does give an unfair advantage. However, I do understand that she identifies as a woman, and I don't want to go into the politics of that at the moment, but I think that there needs to be a space and a place for inclusivity of people who do want to compete. I don't necessarily think it's fair to say, hey, just because you're transgender doesn't mean you get to compete. Screw you, compete with the guys. I think there is a place that we could include them without having them having transgender people compete with the classes of their identification. So, for example, when you go to a meet, there are going to be different classes of people other than just women. So it's not just guys versus girls. You've got age groups. So if you go to a meet, you're going to see your youth lifters. And even within youth lifters, it's not just a giant umbrella of youth. Your youth lifters goes 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, junior. So junior is 17 and 18. So she could fit in, and then you've got your seniors. Your seniors go anywhere from 18 to 35. So anywhere in that age range. We don't have particular age range. I'm a senior lifter. I'm going to be a senior lifter until I turn 35. At 35, I'm a master's weightlifter, and they have age groups for that. So you've got 35 to 38, you've got 38 to 42, and it goes up. That way, a 75-year-old woman is not competing against a 12-year-old girl, is not competing against a 25-year-old girl, because the 25-year-old girl clearly has the advantage and is absolutely going to lift more than someone who's gone through menopause and someone who's not yet gone through puberty. I think that there is a place and a space to have your youth lifters, your senior lifters, your master's lifters, and your transgender lifters. You all get to compete on the same platform. You could even compete in the same session, but you just have a little letter next to your weight class that signifies where you belong. So when you go to a meet with me, you'll see 87S. If you went to a meet with my sister, you'd see she's like a 71 kilo lifter. So you'd see 7115, or you'd see 71J, depending. For her, I could see her saying, 43, so it'd be master's. So maybe MT, master's transgender. That way she has the opportunity to still feel included, to still be able to identify as a woman, to move forward on feeling like she belongs without feeling ostracized or without feeling made fun of, while still not giving an unfair advantage to someone who's got more testosterone in her body than someone who was born as a woman.
And that's what I thought was so interesting, because and thank you for giving us that kind of not backstory, but like some more of the intricacy of
It
Olympic
does get
weightlifting.
little
Yeah,
picky. There are little things that are in there.
right. And I think that's important though, because like you said, weight classes, age groups, those are all, like, even gender, those are all specific differences between the lifters,
Right.
because like you said, you can't have someone who's 72 lifting against someone who's 12. There's
Right.
just obviously going to be a factor there that that both can't compete against each other. So
And it's not
when
to exclude. There's no
right,
ageism in there at all. It's
right.
intentionally created that way for inclusivity and for success of the athlete.
So my only fear with this is that say we do have we have the male, the female, and the transgender. I guess
Genders?
differentials.
Okay.
Yeah, 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 genders. And the intricacies of what goes into each one of those. And oh, what's going on, brother? Sorry, real quick. Coffee and a comic. I hope when I'm 72, I can still outlift a 12-year-old. Right?
Good
Hey,
luck.
yeah, you never know. These 12-year-olds now, man, have been they are something else. But thanks for stopping by, brother. I've got my coffee and my comics behind me. So uh, for those of you watching, if you haven't already heard about Coffee and a Comic, go check him out. He is a local shop here in Orange County, and he's also a prior Marine. We met up not too long ago. I'm going to start a poll list with him soon. And yeah, he's doing some really cool things. So definitely go follow him. Coffee and a Comic. And yeah, I'm excited to see where you're going, brother. So thanks for stopping by. So back to what you were saying about the
Yeah.
different, I guess, I don't want to call them classes, but
Age group?
age groups, sure. Take care,
Mhm.
man. Have a good rest of the day. If you want to, stay and watch. We got some interesting topics, not just power or weightlifting and Olympic lifting. So, um, but yeah, with that, my only fear is that you give them an inch and they'll take a mile. Um, because then I can see the conversation then turning to, well, where is the representation for like you said, ageism, or where's the representation for disabled people who are going to lift? Because I have seen people with one leg, one arm
Sure.
still be able to power clean. So then are we going to have an ableist
Well,
thing on
you're
our
looking at
hands?
the Paralympics at that point.
Is there or okay, because I didn't know if that also has its subcategory,
It does.
but
Yeah,
okay.
it's an actual separate event. So, have you never heard of the Paralympics?
I have, but I don't want to. Obviously, with mental illness, there's the Special Olympics,
Right.
um, and that which so if you guys want something to do on like a weekend or uh, just for like a volunteer event, volunteer for the Special Olympics
It's
as
the
like
most
a referee.
wonderful.
Yes,
There's
it
nothing. It's just
It is life-giving. It seriously will reinvigorate you to, like, go out and conquer the world. Go out and participate in a Special Olympics event because they take volunteers. You can be a referee or you can be what's called a hugger, where literally all you do is just hug the athletes after their event. It is the coolest thing I've possibly ever done in my life, and one of the most, I guess, transformative things that
joy
I've done.
filled.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, you, like, don't stop smiling. It is
Yeah.
amazing, and they are into it. They are so good. They're trained athletes. So yeah, so that's what I've known is the Special Olympics, but the
Yeah.
Paralympics you're saying is specifically for physically disabled, or is it mentally
Physically
disabled as well?
disabled. Nope,
Okay,
physically disabled. So I
okay.
think there was an article actually that came out about the Tokyo Olympics talking about the blind swimmer, just because there was a COVID issue that had happened. So if
Mhm,
you've got a physical disability, you're missing an arm, like you said, you're blind, hard of hearing, even you, depending on where you would want to go, you would be applicable to go into the Paralympics. So that's not necessarily looking at ableism. I would not say that Laurel is disabled. Obviously, that's a very different topic. We're dangerously getting close to talking about the politics behind transgenderism and gender
mhm.
identity, which I'm very hesitant to get into. Um,
Don't be.
no, because this is going to be on the internet. And what I don't want is in like 5 years to someone saying, what you said.
Yeah, you're gonna take one clip of you saying like,
Exactly.
like, you know what, maybe she shouldn't lift in the female, and they're gonna
Yeah.
be like, oh well,
Sorry.
she said this, and then just start just going off. Yeah,
I
of
do
course.
think there's
I
a place
understand.
and a space for anyone who wants to compete to be able to compete.
Mhm.
Obviously, if you're identifying as you know, there's an extent to that. If you're going to identify as a horse, well, horses don't weightlift, so you can't compete. If you want to compete in, fencing or jumping over posts or equestrian stuff, like knock yourself out. But if you figure out how that works. But if you are disabled, if you've got a mental disability of some sort, if you're physically disabled, if you're mentally disabled, if you have if you're older, if you're younger, if you have a different identity, I think there's definitely a place for you, but I think it needs to be, I don't know my word, put in a way that's going to be fair for everyone. So
Mhm.
it wouldn't actually be fair for me to compete in a same weight class as someone who is a natural born man. He will win. The end. She will win, excuse me. But it's just not going to happen. If I'm going to compete against, my sister, if she gains a few weight classes, I will win. If I'm going to compete against someone who's older, I will win.
You're an experienced lifter because you know how to pull the weight, you know the technique, you know your limits, you've been training for years. These are things that Laurel has done as well, maybe not to your extent or to, another professional's extent, but she
But her unfair advantage is the extra testosterone. My unfair
correct.
advantage over my 15-year-old sister is I'm 27. There we go. Like, I don't know how old I am. I'm 27, which means I'm very close to the peak of what I can do.
Mhm.
So I'm going to have a very unfair advantage over women who've gone through, not unfair, but I'm going to have a very natural advantage over someone who's younger, because my body is more mature, and someone who's older because my body is not very mature. She's gonna have an advantage over me, Laurel, because she has more testosterone in her body. So it's not
Mhm.
necessarily the way that everyone has been grouped up is creating a space for inclusivity. But for someone who's transgender to say, well, I want you guys to include me, but I wanted to be included with the natural born women, that's not fair.
Mhm. Right.
And that's where I have a problem.
And
Can you lift? Yes. Can you lift against me if we're in the same class? No. Go lift against your own. That's where I start getting defensive and angry
right.
because she lifted in the Olympics against other women, other natural born women. Now, as a heads up to anyone who didn't watch, she actually scratched. So she missed all 3 of her
Mhm.
snatches.
Right.
She was not able to compete. So it is kind of moot. Like, how did she place? She didn't. She lost,
Right.
basically. She did as bad as
Well,
you could possibly go.
I mean, look at this picture. She looks like a 42-year-old man that hasn't lifted in 42 years. Like she came in out of shape. She came in unprepared. Like she wanted this for publicity. And that's just my take.
Yeah.
Everyone
And
has their
so did New Zealand.
yes. Yeah, yeah. And let's see here real quick. Coffee and a comic. This brings up fairness factor in the Special Olympic. Let's say in running, someone that has a leg amputation, they're able to pay for a more springboard prosthetic than someone else. That's that's a good that is an interesting take, man. And
I
that's
don't know
something
enough
that
about the Special Olympics.
and that's what I was gonna say. Like, I wonder if there is a defined line that says these are the specific brands you're allowed to use, or maybe they have to issue them like for me. So when I had ACL, I had torn my ACL and meniscus. I was issued a Don Joy knee brace, and that was the brand. I wasn't issued like a mechanical, steam piston thing that like made my legs stronger. It was just a Don Joy knee brace that all the other football players had as well. So that's a good point, man. I'm actually not sure what
I
they
have no idea.
yeah, but it would be really interesting to find out. I would have to look into that more. Um, let's see. And so and I won't belabor the point anymore because I ultimately, like you're saying, I think the main what we're trying to get out of this, and I think the main point that we're trying to make here, and that I think is a good point, is that we want, if she wants to compete, I think that's fine, and I think it's great that she wants to compete. We just have to make sure that she competes against others that are like her in her same weight class,
Yes.
gender, or gender identity, and age. And then they can compete.
Yeah.
And that's what I hear you saying, and that's how I'm like
I
kind of
hear
bringing
I
it to
am pro inclusivity as
yeah.
best as you possibly can, but also within that exclusivity, pro fairness.
Hmm. Yeah. And not you know, what's the term? Let's see if I can find it here. I pulled it up earlier because yes, um, equality is what we need in this situation.
Yes.
Equity is, I think, what we're getting from this situation.
Ooh, that's good.
So I don't know,
I like
and
it.
yeah, yeah,
It's close,
and
but it's no cigar.
well, no, I don't know. I think because equality, like you're saying, would mean a different weight class.
Yeah.
Equality would mean a different, uh, a separation between the age, gender identification, and weight class, which is equality, because then that uh, that person gets to be with others that identify like them.
Mhm.
But equity is Laurel, when she is just given this platform and says, "Yep, you can compete with the females,"
Right.
without having to do anything else other than just, let's see. Do we know if they are trying to do hormone testing and classify it? Yes.
There
So
are
they
specific levels that you must, your testosterone must stay under a certain level. Yes. So they
correct.
are watching her and testing her. However, uh, there are there's a natural born advantage to having more testosterone naturally in your bones, in your ligaments, in your muscles that you are born with. So even if you have less in your body currently, you still have that buildup. So yes, we watch your testosterone. Yes, we watch your estrogen. But just because you're at a certain level right now does not mean that you've had the buildup over X amount of years before it was in the middle of transitioning.
And if you coffee and a comic, if you want more info on this, look up More Plates, More Dates on YouTube. I know it's a really silly channel name, but he does a great job of looking into this, and he actually does the research and finds the article that says this is the maximum testosterone level that we allow in the female weight class. And to be honest, man, it's a fucking lot of testosterone. You can have a lot of it. And so, and normal natural female testosterone does not even reach close to that. But for some reason, we saw, like in this article and in the research, and like I said, watch the video because it's really intriguing. But most of the females that were competing weren't even getting close to this max test level. But Laurel was just a little bit underneath that, so everyone was like, "Oh, well, she's good."
Yep.
But in relation to where the other female competitors were at, it was still 50 to 70, milligrams, or however you want to, I don't know the actual
I
measurement.
don't know. I've never cycled on and off test before, so
Exactly,
I don't know.
exactly. And that's the thing, is like Laurel wouldn't even have needed to cycle on and off test because she was born with naturally more
Right.
testosterone, like you were
She would be
saying.
cycling on and off estrogen.
So it would have been like, hey, I'm going to take steroids, or I'm going to take testosterone or HGH or any type of anabolic. I'm going to take that for 42 years. Well, let's say 40, because maybe she, started
I have no
taking.
idea when her transition
Right,
was.
right. Maybe she started cycling off or cycling on to estrogen, a little bit before. So that means that you've been taking steroids in your Olympic sport for 40 years or 20 years, however many years, you can take steroids for 1 year and feel like a completely different person.
Yeah.
So that was another point I thought or I found very interesting, is that no matter how much we want to debate the politics of it, you can't deny the science of it, which is the natural born testosterone levels,
Yep.
and how that affects a person throughout their age. Because from what I remember, in the article, it said that Laurel hadn't completed the transition, or hadn't completed
Yes.
or started the transition till later in life. So she
Yes.
had been a fully developed male, which is strong as shit. You know what I mean? Like, if you're lifting,
In
uh,
comparison.
in comparison, if you're lifting and eating well and training and all this stuff, your testosterone goes up as
Yeah.
a naturally born male. And so, yeah, so she was fully developed as a male before. Um, let's see, maybe we should just start a new Olympics class. Everyone against him, right?
People
Well,
have
dude,
talked about that. Here's a
no,
normal ass human being, and here's a human being who's on as many drugs as they can. That's called powerlifting.
not yeah, exactly.
That's called
If you
Arnold
look at
Schwarzenegger.
if you look at anyone in the Olympics, I'm sorry, but they are on some sort of performance enhancing something,
Or they're cycling. I don't know.
or they're
I don't
cycling
know.
off of something.
I have
So,
actually a friend who went to the Olympics, and I want to say she didn't. She claims she didn't, but I'm
mm,
not going to reveal her name, number one. And
yeah.
number two,
When you reach that, and this is what I saw with the NFL, because obviously I didn't go to the NFL. I was never good enough to go to the NFL. But a lot of my friends that I played with in college did go to the NFL. And when you get to that next level of competition, whether it's the Olympics, the NFL, the NBA, MLB, you that next level of experience isn't just going to be, I'm really skilled, I'm really technically proficient, I'm very strong. It's like, to get to that next level, though, you have to be doing something else to get you on the same playing field as your peers. So when you say, maybe we should start a new Olympics class, everyone against everyone on steroids, we're kind of already there, I think, because I think,
but we're just not admitting it.
right. I'm just, yeah, exactly. Well,
Russia
I
enters the conversation.
what?
I said Russia enters the conversation.
And what was the other one you said that has a really big
Thailand.
problem with it? Thailand, yeah, I can believe that. Um, so thank you for sharing your opinion on
Yeah.
that, because we had talked about it prior, like, maybe a couple months ago, and I loved the idea of having that other weight class, having
But I
that.
said it much more angrily then because I was still
Yes,
really hot. Now I can say it a
yeah,
little bit more controlled. Before it was like,
yeah. That's it. Just make it transparent. Make the human being, take the human being to the next level. We're already there, man. I mean, if you even I'm watching kids that are
are we though?
playing.
Did you get the vaccine? Did you get the the tracker inserted into your body yet?
Oh
That
yeah,
could be
right.
worse. We could have Think It, or like the goggles that they were going to come out with, like the Google. What was that called? The Google glasses that you were going to wear
Google
with the
Glass. Yeah.
Google. Oh wow, Google Glass.
Yeah,
Okay, good. I
Google
was
Glass,
close.
right? Yeah.
We're not all the way there yet. It could get better.
Are you saying that it could get better, meaning we could become a superior, like, as humans, we could become a superior being with new CRISPR technology and DNA changing capabilities? Oh
Exactly.
my god, we're gonna be like the Predator, where he can, like, turn invisible and have heat-seeking vision and all this kind of stuff. It's
Look,
gonna be
I
wild.
wanted to
Yeah.
fly as a kid. If someone could just help me fly, I'd like some really
Mhm.
beautiful wings. We're good.
Yeah. Okay. Now we're talking into X-Men territory.
All I
Doing.
want is wings. That's all I want.
You know what? Coffee and a comic. When you say new CRISPR technology, DNA changing capabilities, if they do a real life Weapon X program, so if you guys can see Weapon X framed right over here, which created Wolverine, the government took the super soldier serum, and they were like, we're gonna make we're going to make someone even better than, yeah, I want heat-seeking sensor vision. Exactly. Especially for our job. Are
Oh
you
my
kidding
God,
me?
for a Marine, that'd be so
Yeah,
helpful.
for a Marine, our NVGs are awful as it is, and so heat-seeking vision would be way better than the $20 NVGs we get. But yeah, man, if they did a Weapon X program, I would be the first one to sign up. Yep.
False.
See? No, he's
I
in
will
too.
fight
I'm
you
in.
for that.
He said, I'm in.
Exactly.
Hook me up. See? We're down.
There was like a
We're
comic
in
book
for it.
that I read as a kid, and I wish I could remember the name of it because I would read it again now. But it was
Hmm.
about these kids who one of them was actually a dragon, and she held her wings in a backpack. And I read this when I was a little kid, and I wish I could remember what it was
Hmm.
called. It was like a comic that they also turned into a book, and it was a series.
Interesting.
And
Okay.
she would able to, if she took her backpack off, her dragon wings would come out. And as a little kid, I was like, what do I have to do to get dragon wings
Yeah.
in a backpack?
Now, you could be, now if we're talking X-Men, you could have Lockheed, which is a dragon companion. And that was in like
No,
the 90s
I
X-Men.
want wings.
You want, yeah, okay, all right, never mind.
I don't want a
Then
companion I can ride. I want the wings.
we're not on the same page then.
No. Screw the
Which
I mean, the
is,
cannon would be cool.
yeah,
Second choice if necessary, but wings.
fair enough. Now, what about would you prefer wings, or would you prefer something more like let's see here. Let me pull this up for you guys so you can see it. Or would you prefer, something more like this? Really just really feminine and really beautiful and very toned and sculpted. I mean, she looks amazing. Really feminine qualities here. Wouldn't you want something more like this than dragon wings as a superpower?
I don't know how to respond to this
Yeah.
respectfully. First off, to say this is an Avenger is just like
So yeah, this is a
there's so many
time.
things to say.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, this is a modern Avengers comic, Avengers number 48. It just came out last week. It's called World War She-Hulk Part 3. Full disclosure, I have not read this title. These are some of the creators on board. This was the average rating it got. 2.8 average rating.
Ooh,
Let me
out of
see
5.0.
if correct. Yeah. Oh, it went up
Nice.
a little bit. All right. I just refreshed the page. So
It's still 2.8.
yeah, still 2.8 average. But yeah. So I mean, like I said, full disclosure, I haven't read this. I haven't been reading the World War She-Hulk run, the Avengers run right now by Jason Aaron. And this is why. I mean, it's just I just don't know why. Let's see. The other cover of that issue has a hot looking She-Hulk. I have a crush. Oh, okay.
What's the other cover?
Let's take a look at this bad boy. Yeah. See, this is what, dude. So
That's
this is so much better,
so much
right?
better.
Yeah.
Like,
And this is
I mean, okay, I do see one very glaring problem with that, but
okay.
that's so much better. Like, okay, the problem I see with that is if a woman's going to be that strong, which by the way, I have a friend who looks just like that,
Mhm.
with one very small exception. I'm sorry, well, one really large exception. When a woman is that strong, her boobs go away, like just straight up. Boobs are fat. When you get that tone, when you get that muscular, when you get that lean, which is possible to look like that, 100% possible, your boobs disappear. So she's not going to be as bodacious and as gorgeous and as like, I mean, they're not rotund and like an anime character, and they're in the normal position for boobs, which is good. They're just not going to be there. But the rest of that, I'm here for that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I can get over
And
the boob thing. I could show that to my daughter and say, like, yeah, you could. Her legs are a little long. She looks a little bit like a frog, but short of that, I can roll with that.
right. Oh man, I don't know. Well, so Margie has a fiance, but She-Hulk may be single. So I don't know. Yeah, exactly. See, it's like a Gamora thing. Gamora in those Guardians of the
Yes,
Galaxy,
that's who she is.
and she looks amazing.
Yeah, but she's
But
too
this
hot than
She-Hulk,
Gamora is. And she
yeah,
looks
this
a little
She-Hulk,
sassy. Look at her face. She's gonna get you.
She-Hulk in this looks much better than Gamora. However, um, your comment about, the realism of like the legs and the chest or whatnot, fine. But I think we talked about it the other day. I will raise you one and say, have you ever looked at a Wolverine comic? Have you ever looked at a Superman comic?
That's completely realistic. I don't know what you're talking about.
Have you looked at a Thor comic recently? Like yeah,
Look,
exactly.
did you
So
watch the TV series or play the video game The Witcher? If Henry Cavill can look that gorgeous, it's realistic.
yeah, but he looks great. He looks very very in shape, very physically fit. But nothing comparatively to the chef's kiss, yeah, that is, Wolverine at his peak, or X-Men at their peak. They are definitely taking something, you know what I mean?
Oh
Like,
yeah.
it's not just steroids, they're on like god-like next level physiques. So I actually don't mind. Well, I'm a toxic male, so I love, females that look like this in comic books. So
In that case, I'm a toxic female because Thor is hot. Let's move on.
yeah, exactly. Thor's a god, so maybe She-Hulk had a great plastic surgery, yeah. You never know. Maybe she got a little enhancement.
Hey,
But
and that's good for her. That's true. I mean, her legs
maybe
are just a little long at that point. But other than
maybe
that,
maybe it was the gamma radiation that gave it a little bit more oomph. But yeah, so I love these types of covers where the female figure is
yeah.
something to admire. It's beautiful because it's not realistic, sure, but
But it
it
doesn't have to
gives
be. It's escapism.
right,
You're
and it
walking into
gives
another world.
like you said, if you showed this to your daughter would strive to want to look like this. What's even more realistic is if your daughter wanted to strive to look like this monstrosity. I mean, this is horrifying.
That's
No, not even men can look like this, So I just don't get why comic book creators and why Hollywood doesn't, why they want to pursue this idea that the feminine form can't be appreciated, it can't be celebrated, it can't be loved. We have to love this thing, and it's
and
like,
if you take the hair off, you could see that as a totally appropriate, and maybe make the lips a little less poofy. You could have that be a totally acceptable bad guy.
yeah, you would
A
think this
little
would be like,
swollen, yes. A little, Terminator, yeah.
mhm.
But a completely acceptable bad guy for a comic book.
Yeah, this looks like, it looks like a villain.
Yes,
It looks
that's 100% a villain
like
standing in his pool of acid that's coming to get you
yeah, like the
with his like
acid and the
demon hands.
flames, and
Yeah.
like this apocalyptic scene. And I'm just looking at this, and and this is why I want to get your take on it, because say you're, I don't know, 12-year-old girl, and you're going into the comic shop, and you're like, you know what, I really like the Marvel movies. I want to pick up like an Avengers book, and maybe I'll see Black Widow, or maybe I'll see I don't know, maybe I'll see Gamora, or one of the other,
You're like, Black Widow, what else is there? Captain Marvel?
Yeah, we won't talk about her.
I noticed you avoided that topic there.
Yeah. And so you think of you're trying to think of, like, as a girl, as a young girl, you're going into a comic shop and you're going, what can I look at, or what can I pick up? Maybe I'll pick up. I showed this the other night on our comic book stream. Maybe I'll pick up Witchblade. she's gorgeous, she's hot, she's sexy, but she's also dangerous. Like the toxic male is really coming out in me here.
Bikini model.
Yeah, but she also has a lot of strength to her. So you're like, maybe I should pick up some Witchblade, or maybe back in the 80s, I can read something like Teen Titans with like
Oh,
Starfire
yes.
and
There we
Raven,
go.
and they're
Oh, Teen Titans
beautiful. They're
slaps.
they're really well drawn. So maybe I'll pick up something like that. But no, they go into a comic shop, and what do they see? They see She-Hulk, red She-Hulk, and it's like, oh my god,
I'm
is
sorry, I'm
that?
not picking that up.
Yeah, yeah. I think of the new Demon Days by Peach Momoko. Oh, you know what? Those have actually I didn't initially I didn't give them a chance, but I read the Demon Days by Peach Momoko, and I actually really liked them, man. What did you think of those? Because I know a new one just came out this past week. You think of the new Demon Days by Peach Momoko? I think younger females would also be really, that art style and everything is beautiful as well. Let me see if I can pull that up for us.
Yeah, do that,
But
because I don't
yeah,
actually
go
know what
ahead.
this is.
Yeah, go ahead and so what were you going to say, Margie? Though, about picking this thing up?
There's just not a chance. When I was a young girl, I recognize it's not Marvel, but I would make a beeline to DC's Wonder Woman, and I had like Wonder Woman and Superman. Wouldn't that be an amazing couple? So I'd read through that kind of stuff, and I'd want to read about her and about her strength and about her, I'm not going to go towards a superhero. If I'm looking for a girl superhero, I'm not going to head towards ooh.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's kind of got this Japanese art
Okay.
style, yeah. And what Peach has done in this series is
Wow, I
she's
would
taken,
definitely pick this up. Like, I kind of want to
right?
read it now. That's so
Yeah.
sick.
It's really cool. And well, I mean, these are all the variant covers, but all the variants are absolutely beautiful as well.
Okay, yeah, I would
Um,
100% pick that up as a young girl, and right now. That
yeah.
is baller.
The art germ, I think, is my favorite. This one's really cool.
Oh, damn, she's hot.
Yeah, they
Wow.
so this is supposed to be,
That's
so
by
from
far the hottest comic cover I've ever seen.
right? It's so good. And the thing that I love is that she doesn't have to look like She-Hulk. She doesn't
Excuse
have
me,
to.
that is She-Hulk. Look at her. Look at her face. Look at her hair. Look at her. Look at her
Or
boobs. Look at her biceps. She's strong. She's damn.
sorry,
Yeah.
I should have said she doesn't have to look like red She-Hulk that's like in the
Oh,
new, comic. Yeah, so this is supposed to be Psylocke from the X-Men.
yeah.
And
Look at this. She's got a serene yet intense look on her face. She's gonna fuck
mhm.
you up, but also she could be. No, yeah, no.
She's really confident, she's really secure in herself.
That's the
Um
cover that I would look at and go, "How do I look like that?"
Right, right. And I don't think that they're but and what sucks is that people would tell you that you're wrong for thinking that, but I don't know what's wrong with wanting to look like this, I
Oh
don't
no,
think
she's
there's
gorgeous.
yeah, there's nothing wrong with trying to reach or try and better yourself to look like this character. But obviously that's, body shaming or uh, what's the being kind of more of like a misogynistic thinker. Let's see.
BRB dyeing my hair purple again. Whew.
Yeah, right. The new Cursed Web has one of my favorite variant covers. Ooh, okay, I'll check that one out, man. I think it has Mystique on the cover.
Oh, I love
Alex, my number one fan. What's up, dude?
Stop.
Alex is a good friend of mine that we met actually at a As I Lay Dying concert.
Stop.
Yeah, so thanks for stopping by, brother. Hope you're enjoying the discussion here. And yes, you are my number one fan because I'm sure most of my subscribers are a bunch of white dudes, which is fine, which I love, because I don't discriminate.
Oh my god.
And if I were Brie Larson, you know, she'd go, "It's not that I'm saying I hate white dudes." If you've seen
No, I haven't seen that. Are you
video.
serious? Blech.
Oh my god, no, you're not, dude. Get out of here. Um, watching from Mexico. Prove it. Um, Coffee and a comic. Let's go ahead and check out Demon Days number 3.
But
Is it
actually,
going to
I
be
want to
down
read this
here?
comic later. So remind me of this because
I
I'm
will. And look at that fucking rating, 96%, 4.2 average rating, out of 167 people
God.
that were talking about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when we're done with this, remind me of this because I need to like.
So, for those of you who don't know what if you guys are looking at this going like, "Oh, it's beautiful, but I don't know what it is," you know, because it is kind of, you're looking at it and going like, "Okay, it looks good, but what is it about?"
But that's why you pick it up. You buy the comic and you read it because of how it looks.
Yes. I mean, that's how you get, I mean, that was how they got VHS tapes off of the shelves, is you had to have a very enticing cover, and I think that's what they were doing in the 70s, 80s, 90s, because
Right.
you would see these in like 7-Elevens, you would see these in gas stations, you would see these in a Walmart, or well, Walmart wasn't, you know, a thing, but like you would see these everywhere. And so to entice kids to want to buy these comics, they would have to have a cover that you would want to pick up and read. Let's see here. Demon Days 3, maybe? Oh, no, he said Cursed Web. Yeah. So like I said, for those who don't know what this Demon
Ooh.
Days like title is, essentially Peach Momoko has taken these classic X-Men characters and she's kind of put let's see.
Japanese anime type manga
Yes,
type
like
situation.
manga type twist on it, but it's not just manga, it's almost the Eastern European like culture esque
Ooh.
into it, which is really, really beautiful. I think, is this the one that you're talking about, brother? With Mystique on there?
Ooh.
Which is super, super hot. Is this
Yeah.
of course it's Jenny Frizen. Yeah, here we go. All right, I'll pull this one up real quick. Damn, look at those,
Damn.
that the eyes and the face and facial
That's not
features
what
and
you were gonna
everything.
say.
The eyes,
Damn, look at those
the windows to the
eyes. Look at the
soul here.
eyes.
Yep. Yeah, the
Cute.
eyes and the, you know. Of course there's like no cloth on the hips, you know. But no, this looks amazing. Jenny Frizen does some incredible, incredible work. Um, let's see here. I'm
Rating's not too
going
bad.
to yeah, no, it looks good. I haven't read this one. Let's see. I got a couple comments here. Check it out. Half breed here. Oh, what's going on, man? Hey, great to see you. Alex, and watching from, I have no idea how to
How do you
pronounce
pronounce
that.
that?
Bleasy, Georgia. Alex has just created he created a comic book, and I haven't gotten a chance to review it yet, but it looks amazing. And Alex, so I'm gonna read that this weekend and then put out a review hopefully next week. But yeah, man, I'm really looking forward to reading the book. It takes place in kind of this past era where it's like these gangs, and correct me if I'm wrong, Alex, please, because like I said, I haven't gotten a chance to read it yet. But these a male and female that are in love get caught up with like these kind of old school gangsters, and these two rivaling gangs that also incorporate vampires into the mix. So I'm actually
Ooh.
really interested to see how the country Georgia. Okay, nice.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Wow.
I have a feeling that's not
Right.
United
Yeah,
States.
yeah, states.
Due to the fact that's too hard for Southerners to pronounce.
Right. Yeah. Well, Alex, yeah, man, thank you so much for joining. Here we go. The country Georgia, yeah.
Yeah.
And but yeah, looking forward to reading your comic, man. Thank you so much. And then Coffee says it will actually be under Demon Days Curse Web. Yep. That's it. Yeah, man. It looks amazing. Kind of looks like Star Wars cover for a second. Yeah, they're killer. Let's see, 1920 Chicago. Thank you. That's what it was. 1920s, not 50s. And yeah, so Alex, definitely plug your stuff. If you want to plug your, yeah, hey, my pleasure, man. If you want to put a link in the comments, definitely do so, to your Amazon link, or I think I even saw it on Comixology, which is a digital platform for purchasing the book and everything. So, but yeah, man, plug away, and everyone definitely go check out Alex. And like I said earlier, check out Coffee and a Comic, because he is another brother of mine, Marine Corps brother of mine, that's got some really good comics coming out right now. And while I'm on the topic, if you guys look at the pinned comment at the top of the chat, I have Margie's Instagram, and then I also have her United Lifters website in the description. So if you guys want some gear, not like, you know, shooting up gear, if you want like clothing gear,
There are
you
also
can
like
use,
belts on there too.
yeah, belts, and then also some supplements and some food. If you guys want any of that stuff, definitely go check out Margie's United Lifters website, because she has a code that you can get, a discount code, and it would help her out, and it would help you guys out too, because let's be real, COVID hasn't been great to a lot of us. So getting back into the gym is going to be a huge godsend.
Getting back to the gym as they increase mask mandates. Not making a political comment about masks. Just saying.
I'm gonna take a stand and say that's absolute bullshit, because
I have a gym in my garage.
Most people don't, though. That's the thing. A lot of people don't. A lot of people need those gyms to be open for their mental sanity, for their physical sanity, all that good stuff.
Oh yeah.
But what I'll do is I have the digital copies of these, Margie,
Yeah.
and I'll go ahead and send them to you, so that you can read them. Maybe
You're
we can
a godsend.
Yeah, absolutely. And then maybe we can do another stream on here and do like a review of these ones, because they are really cool. In the first one, Venom's actually in it, but Venom is is this Asian demon. Yeah.
In Marvel? Well, yeah, okay, yeah, no, yeah. There we go.
Yeah. You don't
always
normally
want to put Spider-Man in the DC world. Well, no, he is. Wait, what? It's just
yeah.
That's an enigma.
No. Yeah, so Spider-Man and Venom are both. Yeah, see? So you've got Orochi as Venom, and he's kind of this he's like this Asian or Eastern European, like kind of demonic presence that like haunts this town, and they can't get rid of him.
Neat. That's
yeah,
like
so it's super cool.
Kind of touching into the spirit world kind of side, like the Avatar Last Airbender type situation.
Exactly.
Question mark?
Or like Spirited Away, kind of where they have all those different.
I was trying not to bring Hayao Miyazaki up, but like I'm so here for that.
This is like Hayao Miyazaki's soul or spirit animal, you know, like it's so rad. Yeah.
So into that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll send those to you, and we'll do a review, because they're actually not bad. I was hesitant, like I said, but when I actually picked it up and read it, I was like, this is pretty fucking cool.
I mean, the Asian art, I'm super here for that. The alternative story, kind of changing things, I'm super here for that. Hayao Miyazaki, here for that, and the hot girl, here for that. Let's do it. I'm here for it. Bringing old traditional, Oni into the comics, and I guess those the Oni or Onai are demons. I really don't. I sound like a freaking idiot talking about this, because I have no idea what I'm talking about. But it's a great comic, and it's beautiful. It's really well done, well written. Characters are great. So, but yeah, thanks for bringing that up, dude. Yeah, seriously, that is I'm so excited to read that like tonight.
So, who are those weird women comics for?
Me.
Alex, if you're talking about the She-Hulk one that we showed earlier, that's a great question. I think that's the biggest question for a lot of people is who are these comics for? You know, who is reading this stuff? Is it, World War She-Hulk? That's a great question, man. I don't know who it's for. Because so Coffee and a Comic just got just got his orders from, so for comic shops, they have to order for every Wednesday because new comic books come out every Wednesday. And Coffee and a Comic just ordered his for this coming Wednesday or for past Wednesday. And they still have, hey, what's up? Nerdporial. Good to see you, dude. Thanks for stopping by. And so, yeah, it sounds like no one bought them because he's still got plenty left. Dude, I don't know if you read.
It's
I
my
think
shocked face.
right. I think you read Mother of Madness by Amelia Clark because I think you've got a video up on your channel as well. But I went to my local comic shop here in Orange County. They couldn't give those things away.
My local
I
comic
asked.
shop doesn't even hold them.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
They
we weren't
just
even
said
there. I went to
they
go
just
get
said,
it
nope.
after you and I
Yeah.
talked about it because I was like, I got to read this garbage.
Oh,
Not even there.
Don't waste your money. I'm sorry.
Well,
No, but it
I
would
already
be
tore
funny.
it apart, but I needed to read the whole thing to tear the whole thing apart, other than just the first few pages.
Fair enough. No, that's fair. You want to give it an actual chance. You want to actually
No,
read
I
it.
wanted to be more mean. I wanted more fodder for bitches.
Oh,
Come on.
okay.
Have you met me?
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, that was your last book club discussion. That's right, because you guys did a stream on your channel as well talking about it. I've got a video on my channel that just absolutely, I take no prisoners, man. I was brutal in that one. So if you ever get a
Mother of
chance,
Madness?
yeah,
Yeah, you were.
I didn't hold anything back on that
No.
one because I was mad. But yeah, man, Nerdporial, thanks again for stopping by and saying hi. Nerdporial and I met in Vegas at the Nerdrotic meetup and Friday Night Tights meetup, and super good people.
Friday Night Tights?
Yes, yeah.
I love
Friday
it.
Night Tights.
That's
So
phenomenal.
every Friday at 2:30 or 3 o'clock, somewhere around there, they our fellowship kind of has this big meetup on a live stream, and it's fantastic. We had to switch it up for the next and bring some testosterone. Okay. Yes, King Spawn. I've got it right here on my desk, man. King Spawn #1 with Gunslinger and Medieval Spawn. I'm here for it, man. I'm ready to get some 90s nostalgia back into the comic book realm, and it's gonna be great. Yeah, bringing some testosterone back into it with King Spawn. I love it. I will be watching for sure, man. So let me know when you guys are doing that book club next. Let's see. So we talked about Laurel. We talked about Demon Days and World War She-Hulk. And to bring it back to what Alex was saying, who is this for? That's the main question on everyone's minds, because when we look at stuff like, and that's a good transition, because when we look at stuff like this, and I'll put this up on the screen real quick, but this is a panel from a comic called America Chavez, and it's essentially, from my understanding, America Chavez is this kind of new, almost Captain America-esque figure, who fights for inequality and injustice and all that stuff. But this is just one of the panels that was written. This is a 2020 or 2021 comic book, and I'll read this out loud so that the insanity can really seep in. But maybe it's just me. I don't know. Tell me what you think. Let's see. 17th, and we have Spawn's editor Thomas. Oh, that's cool, man. Hey, I am there. 17th. All right, so we got like another 13 days or so. Yeah, dude, I'm there. I'm excited to read that one and hear you guys
It's
talk
early
about
for
it.
that much math, Maxfield.
Yeah, I know, right? Seriously, sorry. I was like, when is that? So it's funny because, as Margie said, women like to ship. Yeah, and
We can't help it. At least I can't.
and this is this is what we see in this like little panel here. But Kate Bishop, who's the new Hawkeye, so we don't what's his name? Jeremy Renner, who normally plays Hawkeye in the Marvel universe. We're not seeing like normal Hawkeye anymore, Clint Barton. We're seeing Kate Bishop, and she is seeing America Chavez with her girlfriend, which is fine. but how they go about telling the story is just so frustrating. She goes, "I'm literally intrigued and in awe of both of them. If this is what it's like to date other women, then I applaud all the women dating women right now because this is incredible. Motorcycle courtship chase? Check. Missiles and explosions? Yup. And now we're just flying together in the sky, heading to a giant heart. I swear, if they could come back married, I'm going to be so jealous. Sigh. Always the bride's best archer, never the archer bride."
You've
I'm
never said that one time in your life? Man, I think that on the daily.
Who is this? What type? No person ever talks like that. No one ever in their right mind would ever. And instead of like showing a beautiful relationship, instead of having a comic book that, maybe has them fighting against, the big bad or the antagonist, and through them going through this battle, through this struggle, they find that they're very much alike, and they start to like each other, and they find this, bond through their struggle of fighting the antagonist. Um, Instead of having something created that we can enjoy and that we can see as like a reader, we're just told it. We're just
Right.
like
It's
the
garbage
author is just
storytelling.
yeah, yeah. It's not just, there's a difference between good writing and bad writing. And there's a difference between uh good stories and good writing that exemplifies and that includes genders, races, all that stuff. But this is just lazy writing and lazy storytelling because they don't want to actually put in any work, to actually tell the story of these two characters that are, together. Let me see if I can pull it up again. But yeah, when you see this or when you hear that,
I
it
would never, even about any relationship, I swear, if they come back married, I'm going to be so jealous. That's
yeah,
never something I've thought. I've thought, wow, that's a really great looking couple.
right.
End. Like,
Yeah, it's i-
or when is it my turn? Or when am I going to find my love? Like, those are
mhm,
tropes, I suppose, that you could naturally see women saying potentially. But
right.
mm,
Um and the thing that bugged me is her like first paragraph too, when she's talking about I'm in awe of both of them. Why? Because they
why?
like each other? Like what is
So,
uh,
what's
s-
remarkable about that?
yeah, like so fearsome or fearless and brave, so stunning and brave,
But
why?
obviously, their relationship is also indicative of all other lesbian relationships, clearly.
Yeah.
And that's worthy of being applauded.
Yeah. The art right. Hail MVP. I'm lurking because I'm at work and can't text and drive. Just wanted to say thank you for keeping me entertained and sane. Dude, the art right. Thank you so much for stopping by. I'm sorry you got to be at work. But yeah, definitely don't text and drive. But yeah, dude, thank you so much for stopping by and saying, and thank you. You guys keep me as entertained just as I do yourselves. So it is a pleasure to have you here, man. Enjoy work, and hopefully you get some time off for Labor Day. But yeah, hail, brother, hail the art right. Um, so going back to that first point is like, yeah, I just don't see why we should be intrigued and in awe of both of them. Like if I were to have a girlfriend, I would expect anyone to go, "You're so stunning and brave." It's like, why? Because I have a girlfriend, if this is what it's like to date other women, then I applaud all the women dating women right now because this is incredible. And it's almost like and I don't I don't want to come off as like just really as like trashing this. I am, but in a way, I'm trashing the writing. I don't want to trash um the notion that it's bad to have a girlfriend. One of my family members, one of my cousins, she is a total badass, Air Force colonel, and she married another. Air Force member who's also a female, and they're awesome. They are fantastic. They're some of my favorite people ever. And I know I'm pulling the whole like, I have a black friend, but this is like, but this is actually
I have a
true.
black
So
sister. Get on my level.
yeah, exactly. See, I can't even touch you.
No.
I'm,
And I'm a
uh,
heterosexual white female.
yeah, shoot. And, so I'm not trying to trash the sanctity of that marriage
No,
or their relationship because
but also
it
we're
is
not going to
great.
glorify it.
But I'm also not going to glorify the fact that it's more stunning and more brave than any other relationship because all other relationships have their issues, they have their problems, they have their
Yep.
brokenness. And so when this comic book says that they're like, I applaud all women who want to date other women. That's awesome, man. But like for women who want to date other women, some of them just want to be like, can't you just like leave us alone? Like we just
Yeah.
want to do our thing. Like we
Yeah.
don't need
If we're
to
going to
be
promote
special.
equality within relationships, then we're not going to applaud if you're not going to applaud a heterosexual relationship, you're
Mhm.
not going to applaud an interracial relationship or a homosexual relationship. It's a relationship. Leave it at that.
Mhm.
We don't need to add the adjective
If
other
we
than as a
really
descriptor.
Right. If we really are talking about equality and not equity, but if we're talking about equality, then a straight white male with a straight white female should be as important and as applauded as a, maybe a trans relationship or a, interracial relationship or a same sex relationship. No matter what relationship it is, they should be across the board um, hailed and respected. But I don't see that. I don't know.
I don't think it's not to say that we don't recognize that a homosexual relationship, I'm thinking, it's not to say that a homosexual relationship we don't recognize is going to be more um, persecuted. That's a very intense word, but we're going to go
More
with it.
like difficult.
No, not what I
More.
mean in society.
Yeah.
So there
Yeah.
are
Okay.
going to be the more radical perspectives of observing someone in a homosexual relationship than there will be as a woo, there's a comment.
Yeah.
Exactly. When my niece came out, she expected a party. We all just looked at her and said, okay.
Yeah.
So it's acceptance.
Good
It's if
point.
we're going to start to talk today about today's society, just accepting other relationships. There is, of course, the degree to which, sure, coming out is going to and has been historically more of an issue because of hatred. But if we're
Mhm.
going to come out and say, no, we're not going to treat these people as if they had horns growing out of their head, as if they were extra, and as if they weren't a normal. If we're going to normalize these types of relationships and normalize these types of perspectives, then we're also not going to celebrate them with a party. And then we're not going to say, like, oh, that's so brave, or oh, all relationships must be that wonderful, or what was the line that she just used in that comic? The I admire all
Um,
relationships, or what was that?
yeah. Let me see if I can pull it back up again.
I applaud. That's it.
Yeah.
We're not going to throw a party for your niece who just came out. We're going to go, okay, cool. I'm heterosexual. We're not going to applaud a woman dating a woman. We're going to go, okay, we're going to applaud that I'm engaged to a man. We're going to applaud the engagement. Yeah. Or like, oh my gosh, congratulations. You finally got a girlfriend. But
Yeah.
we might just, congratulations, you finally got yourself in a relationship. But that's not because of whom you're in a relationship with, but more the joke of, well, someone would want to date you. Maybe.
Yeah, I get that joke all the time. Wow, so so and so actually likes you. Wow, that's great. No, I'm kidding.
You.
Yeah. I do this all the time.
You're saying,
Yeah,
don't say it. Don't do it.
yeah. I was about to say we do this all the time in our conversations. So don't worry. But yeah, man, when your niece came out, she expected a party. We all just looked at her and said, "Okay." I think with that, I think, like you said, because it is so politicized, because it is,
Yeah.
it's become something that's like, I don't know. It almost feels like it's, and we'll go into Reimagine Tomorrow because I think that's a good segue into
Yeah.
that from Disney. But I don't think that big corporations, I don't think that big companies and these politicians and Hollywood actors and directors and producers actually care about these relationships, but they fake like they do because they know that that's what is trending right now.
Yeah.
And so when people are like,
Great segue.
yeah, and because it has been so celebrated in our culture right now, when people don't get that, when they don't feel seen, they're like, well, I'm not just a lesbian. I'm actually pansexual too. I'm not just pansexual now. I actually have a disability, so now I'm ableist. And then it becomes the what do we call it? The oppression Olympics.
Oh.
Because do you have a different opinion there?
No, you're just
Oh,
getting into
okay.
really, really sketchy, scary water because
We
I
have
strongly
to.
agree with you.
Yeah, these are the topics that matter. Here, let's Coffee and a Comic said all types of relationships get grief from people. Absolutely, man. How many times have we said, why is that hot girl with that? Oh my god.
Yeah.
Preach, man.
Or
Seriously.
that guy is so hot. Why is he with that dumpy woman?
Yeah. Or, that guy is 84 years old. He's gonna die tomorrow. Why is he with that 20-year-old? Because he's got some money.
I was gonna
So
say, I feel
yeah,
like that one might get a little justified grief.
yeah. That's such a great
She's not
point,
into
man.
him because she loves him. She's into him
Yeah.
because he's got.
Everyone is going to have some sort of judgment towards a relationship, whether it's two white people, whether it's two trans people, whatever. Everyone gets grief from people, and that's a great point, Coffee. Thank you for bringing that up. And Zax, what's going on, man? Good morning. Welcome to the stream. We've got our coffee, and I haven't had breakfast yet, but that's all right. Coffee is.
I had energy drink for breakfast, and I'm feeling like I can see sounds at this point.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. So Zax, if you've got your morning wake up, thank you for being here, man. I really appreciate it. Let's see. So going back to kind of what we were talking about of that segue, because the unfortunate part is that these relationships do matter. All of these relationships matter. They're all important, and
Yeah.
they all have their place, just
Mhm.
like Laurel Hubbard, just like these dumb comic books that aren't necessarily for me, but maybe they're for someone else. They all have their place somewhere. But
That
what
place may
I
very well be
feel,
in the garbage can, but
yeah, that place maybe in a fired pit, or
you didn't
it's
hear that from me.
yeah, right. It's morning here, but barely. Oh, okay.
It is no
Well,
longer morning here. It is afternoon.
yeah, that's right. And we can see that through your beautiful window. It looks amazing out there.
It's a little blown out, but there's like a
Yeah,
lake back there, actually.
that's right. Yeah. So, um, I'm just looking at my windows out here, and I just see a wall outside of mine, but that's okay. The unfortunate thing with all of this is that whether it's with Laurel, whether it's with comic books, whether it's I'm about to bring up Reimagine Tomorrow from Disney, I feel like the deeper meaning behind it has its place, but the publicity of it for societal gain and for the like brownie points to say, look at what I'm doing for
Yeah.
these people, or look at what I'm doing for this new wave of this new culture, um to pat themselves on the back or whatever. That's what's cynical about it, and that's what's the thing that is the issue here, is that the actual root of the relationships, the actual root of these these issues is not, I hate people of color, or I hate people of this thing. It's more so, I hate that people are taking advantage of these topics that have become so uh normalized, I guess.
Sure.
Nerdporial, thanks, man. Yeah, thanks for keeping my highway drive short off to haircut. Later, folks. Yeah, see you later, brother. Smash the like button. Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate it. Smash it like you would the red World War She-Hulk would, and smash that like button. But yeah, man, thanks for stopping by. And yeah, absolutely. Always a pleasure. Have a great time getting your haircut. That is always a nice what do you call it? Like a nice relaxing thing to do on the weekend. So, but yeah, man, thanks for stopping by. I'll see you soon. So let me just go ahead and share this then, because we need to discuss. And I know you only got about another 30 minutes, but so we'll probably end. We'll probably end here. But for everyone who hasn't seen this yet, this is the Disney's Reimagine Tomorrow initiative. Let's see.
What if the world saw?
And I'm going to make this a little bit larger. The ratio speaks for itself. So Reimagine Tomorrow uploaded this, and I don't know. So from what it looks like is there's a Bounding into Comics article, and it says Disney moves forward with Reimagine Tomorrow campaign despite being exposed as part of racist critical race theory movement. And then it says the Walt Disney Company decided to move forward with Reimagine Tomorrow campaign, and having it being commonly known for critical race theory. So it's like a movement, it's a campaign. So I believe that Reimagine Tomorrow is a type of outsourcing like company or something that's helping Disney with this. Because if Disney actually cared, if Disney actually wanted to have equality across the board, and if they wanted to, or even equity, it doesn't matter. Like if they actually cared about these issues or this Reimagine Tomorrow thing, they would have put it up on their main channel. But Reimagine Tomorrow put it up because they knew that they were going to get slaughtered in this, and I'm surprised they actually have their comments turned on. But yeah, this ratio is brutal. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and play this for us real quick. And it's only a minute and a half, and we'll save our thoughts on it afterwards.
What if the world saw me the way I see me?
Can you hear that, by the way?
Yeah, I can. I'm going to mute my headphones so I don't make any noises.
Okay, sounds good.
Not as a criminal, but a kid.
Not a foreigner, but a father.
Not bossy, but boss.
A world that doesn't see me for all of my potential, all of my humanity, all of my dreams. Doesn't see me at all.
So how do we change how we see?
At Disney, we start by acknowledging that the images we show and the stories we tell affect how people see themselves, how we see each other, and we haven't always gotten it right. But to reimagine tomorrow, we have to commit today to doing all we can to use the power of storytelling, to be honest about the world as it was, reflect the world as it is, and imagine the world as it can be, to show the magic in every life, one complex, beautiful, human story at a time.
Stunning and brave. Stunning and brave.
I wasn't ready for that.
I mean, what else can I say? It's stunning and brave. Let's start at the beginning. And so you and I watched this pretty recently, and I'll put this back on the screen. But we watched it pretty recently, and there were a couple things that we talked about and a couple beats that I think we could probably hit here. But one of the things that you were saying is that that they were very close. And I want to kind of delve more deeply into that, because it was kind of what we were talking about earlier, is that if this were genuine, if we saw some sort of authenticity here where Disney actually wanted to look into this, they wouldn't. In my opinion, I don't think they would even mention it. I just think they would start to represent people in their movies more so.
It's
They
less
wouldn't.
at that point. It takes away the pat on the back and just
Yes.
brings the representation.
Yeah. Stop talking about it and just fucking do it, man. Like if you guys actually want to have this, put it in your movies and at that point it's like and see how well they sell. I'm sorry, but like at that point, see how well you're yeah, I know, dangerous territory. Dude, the art right. This makes me
Yeah.
want to puke. Did you
Yeah.
see our faces? Did you see our faces when we were watching this?
I muted myself
It's
for good reason the entire
yeah.
time. And
Yeah.
making choices.
It's I agree, man. It's bad. I forgot to bring my trash can next to me, so I had to hold it in. But no shit that my last platoon couldn't figure out what I was, but knew I had a German last name, but don't look German. So I asked them, does it matter? I'm Mexican and German, but look Arab. Interesting. Yeah, and like you said, dude, does it matter? Alex is a prior, you said prior army, correct? And correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but yeah, so he's a prior service member as well. And so in his platoon, I told him to judge me by my character. Dude, that's what I'm talking about. Exactly. Judging people on their character and taking them for who they are as a person, their genuine nature, their maybe their humility or their characteristics, their nobility, their morality, their virtue, as it is, not as what other people should see it. Sergeant First Class, hell yeah, brother, that's awesome. Yeah, Margie's fiance was in the army as well.
Yeah,
So
corporal.
that's right. So thank you again for your service, man. I really appreciate it. And I love this though because I told them to judge me by my character, and they did. Exactly. It doesn't matter, what you look like, man. If you have a good moral, morally virtuistic character that that stands apart from other people, or that you're a free thinker, whatever it is, people are going to be drawn to you naturally, no matter what your skin color is.
Yeah.
And Alex, you can probably attest to this, but some of my best friends in the Marine Corps were Black and Hispanic. My whole platoon, a lot of my Marines that I led into combat were Hispanic and Black. That's
my best woman in my wedding is I think she identifies as queer.
Okay. Yeah.
But like,
so,
and it's not like, oh my God, that's so brave that my best woman is queer. Who cares? I like who she is as a human being.
Exactly.
And what I mean,
Zach's just commented you big time. Why isn't Disney casting Margie as the new Black Widow? Women can be beautiful and strong. Agreed. Strong women.
It's because I have that little pooch that we were talking about earlier. That little peanut butter pooch. I'm not hot enough.
No,
I've got
man.
cellulite on the back of my legs. That's not attractive. It's not what we want to see.
But it's maybe more realistic, and maybe more women want to see that. I'm not sure, but to Zach's point, though, I agree, man. I think women can be beautiful and strong. I think that is the point that Disney doesn't realize.
Yeah,
they think that to make a strong female, they have to immediately get rid of her agency, get rid of her femininity, get rid of her beauty, and you're left with a male character. You're not left with a female character anymore. You're left with a male protagonist, and that's what we saw in Black Widow, is just this undefeatable, female like Mary Sue that no one can actually believe. So thanks for the comment, man. Coffee says it only matters if it's to lead into a conversation that will let me get to know someone better. It's a great icebreaker. The video for Disney, is that what you're talking about? Because
a description maybe of I'm Black and here's my Black history, or I'm queer and here's my history. It's a talking point. It's a descriptor of yourself, but at that point it's an adjective. And to come out and say, this is who I am. I'm an Olympic weightlifter. Mm-hmm. That's a descriptor of me. You and I can talk about that. You served in the Marines. That's a descriptor of you. We can talk about that. And it leads to more conversations to get you to know you better. It's part of who you are. And it's not brave of you to come out as someone who served as an officer in the Marines any more than it's brave for me to come out as, owning a bunch of animals. It's just a truth about me. So if you're going to treat, to what Coffee and Comic is saying, someone ethnic background, sure. Yeah. So if we're going to be, if we're going to treat someone who is from a different ethnic background as, oh my gosh, that's so cool. As, oh my gosh, that's so brave of you to share that ethnic background, as opposed to just like, well, tell me about that. I didn't grow up in that background. Let me know more.
Well, no, Margie, because you need to learn yourself. You need to learn our culture. Like
Oh.
I've legit heard that before, where I go, no, tell me more about your experience. I want to know more about this. And people have literally turned me down and said, well, you should probably take it on your own accord to go look at Black history because blah blah, or educate yourself. Yeah, I've heard people say when they say educate yourself, like it's not my job to
having conversations is educating yourself. What?
But that's what's these people, Disney and these people don't want to have a conversation.
But you can use these mediums for education. This is your opportunity. So, okay, let's just dive into that video a little bit. In the image where the little kids are watching the TV show, that comes up. There's the image from Peter Pan with the American Indian. Who and then there's the Siamese cats from the Aristocats. So those the Siamese cat from the Aristocats, and there's a line in there, and they're singing like that one little song that's like it's talking about
we
Thomas
are
O'Malley,
Siamese, if you please.
That one's from Lady and the Tramp, but also in Aristocats, he's like playing the piano, and he goes with his little squint eyes and his little hat, and he goes, "Fortune cookie always wrong," like this. Which, like, okay, did we stereotype? Yes. Should we have done that? Probably not.
Yeah.
Should we take away? But you're also going to take away from, like, Asians are super smart at that point, and Black people are dangerous, and Islamic people might blow you up, and but it's stepping away from stereotypes. So if we're going to step away from stereotypes and educate, like that movie, oh shoot, what's the movie with the Soul? That movie Soul did. It's the guy at the very end playing the piano, and it's echoed by the little kid playing the piano, the Black guy. Let's just use that adjective. That movie was educating people in jazz music and educating people in the culture of Louisiana. That's education. We can step in and use these mediums for education. That's the beauty of this. But if we're going to then make this video reimagine tomorrow and say, like, aren't we so great for educating people, and aren't we so great for inclusivism? Shut the hell up. Just do it. Just educate me. Teach me about what Hawaiian culture looks like through Moana, or maybe that wasn't Hawaiian culture, Southeast Asian culture looks like through Moana. Teach me about the Bayou through Princess and the Frog. Teach me about Louisiana through Soul. Teach me about, I know that they are redoing The Little Mermaid to have Ariel be Black. I don't know. And then that's going to be live action. I don't know how that's going to turn out. We're going to see that, but
everything live action turns to shit, but
yeah. Our pop culture is because everybody is interested. Most people are interested in pop culture to some degree, somehow, whether that be escapism, whether that be as a form of education. You have the opportunity to use these places for education without it being we're covering our butt because we're including two guys who are kissing, and that's what's popular in today's culture. And we're covering our butt because this is focusing on a Black guy, and that's what's popular in today's culture. And just using it as a form of, I don't want to just say education because that seems like it's just catering to white people, but education for those who are who do not know, but also inclusivity for those who do. For people who do not actually know me, who are watching this show, I am the eldest of 5 children. My middle brother has a mental disorder, and he is adopted from Kentucky. And then my youngest sister is adopted from Ethiopia. She's legit. We got her brought her to our home when she was 5 months old, and is Ethiopian. So when that movie, The Princess and the Frog, came out, it was the first time that she was like, I want everything Tiana because I see me in her. And I see that she's a Black princess, and I can be a Black princess too. But there are also aspects of of those movies that don't necessarily have to be, here is a Black princess for all the Black girls. There are aspects of Tiana's strength, and she grew up in poverty that maybe people who aren't necessarily as well off as some of the stereotypical princesses are painted to be, that can identify with that too. It's an aspect of inclusivity and education and representation. Yes.
And so let me go up real quick. And
yeah, I just said a whole lot of things.
No. I love that, because as you can see, like, everyone, I think we're all on the same page here, and we're all talking about the same thing.
Yeah.
Because it's almost demeaning to people of color and people of different genders and different, because it's just key jangling. It's like, see what we're doing for you guys, look, this is popular. But let me I'll get back to that in a sec. Alex, thank you for yours. And he says thank you to your husband as well. So he said Margie, but that means you served as well. My best friends were soldiers. Yeah, man, all of those who serve, especially after the events in Afghanistan that have just happened, thank you so much for your support, and it means a lot. And then Zach says, don't depend on accommodating stunt people to make your female lead look strong. We see women fighting in UFC. We know what women can look like. Yeah, man, you said it. Yep, we had no problem believing in Cara Dune. Gina Carano, believe in freaking Gina Carano. She is a woman. Like,
Ronda
she
Rousey.
does. Yeah.
Hello.
These are women who don't need stunt doubles, and if they do need stunt doubles, it's not because they can't perform the stunt. It's just maybe, in Hollywood, that's the stunt double's job, is to perform an action that maybe the actor doesn't know how to perform. But so yeah, you don't, like, Zax, if you watched my video, one of my first videos actually, where that one, the female who was in Black Widow, she took all the credit and was like, yeah, I'm the strongest character in this film, blah blah, I'm better than the actual comic book character. And then it turns out they CGI'd her head on a male's body.
Stop it.
Yeah. So
What?
the stunt double, who's actually been Captain America's stunt double, he was Taskmaster's stunt double, he was doing all the stunts, and then they CGI'd her head on his body for one of the scenes, because if you look at it, it's got this big fucking shoulders and this broad, like, frame, and her, like, little tiny head popping out. So yeah, man. Yeah, we don't depend on accommodating stunt doubles and stunt people to make your female. Yeah, exactly. Like I said, man, if you get a chance, go check out that video. It was like one of my first ones, so it's a little rough, but hey, we all start somewhere. So with coffee, like you were saying, it can be intriguing, that have not experienced other backgrounds. And and then he also wants to see if Soul was worth watching. I never saw it.
I loved it. I thought it was fantastic.
The Margie liked it. Yeah.
It's super creative. I recommend it. It's good.
And to this point, Zax, and I think what I wanted to kind of, what my statement towards this whole thing, and to what Margie has said previously, was that your gender, your race, your all this stuff, it's not your identity. These things are not your identity. I'm a Marine. That's not my identity. It's just part of who I am.
It's an adjective.
It's an adjective. And they're beautiful. Those things can be a part of you, and a big part of you. Fuck, comics are a big part of me, but, like, that's not my identity. Right. I don't identify as a fucking comic book, because it's just, like you said, it's an adjective that describes what I like, or what my background is, right. Or and I think because people don't have an identity right now, they're lost, they're confused. Sure. There's a lot of unrest in our community and our social environment right now. Let's see.
And it's an easy way to look like, oh no, it's super good, especially if you love jazz. I honestly don't have a problem with anything in it. It's very creative. If you watched Inside Out, Disney's Inside Out or Pixar's Inside Out rather.
Oh yeah.
But it is very similar to that. I believe it's the same people who did Inside Out did Jazz. It's kind of got the super creative feel, and it's got
Very
some really
flowy.
really great depth to it. I actually really recommend Soul. It was great, especially if you like
Interesting.
jazz music, which I do.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, maybe I'll have to look into that as well.
It's a great like just kick back and relax type movie. It doesn't require a whole lot of brain cells, and you can just enjoy it.
Gotcha. Okay. So yeah, this video is really, it's frustrating. It's upsetting because Reimagine Tomorrow, Disney
And it's also
thinks,
telling me something about how I look at people. It means that I look as a black at a black guy and think you're a criminal. It means I look at a Middle Eastern man and think, what did he describe himself as? But I don't see a father. I don't see his humanity. A foreigner. Yeah. I mean, shoot, I'm in the United States. I know you're in the United States, Max, but it's become, United States is an enormous melting pot. And you could make the argument that people are foreign.
By the way, that's also a microaggression, just to let you know. It's calling America a melting pot. So just to educate you, just because I want to educate you on this, you know. But it's true. If you guys, there was a study that was put out. I forget which university it was, but Gary was reading it last night on Friday Night Tights, and he was talking about all the expressions that are microaggressions, and that was one of them. Whenever you say this is a melting pot, or whenever you say I don't see color, those are all microaggressions towards those who are racially insensitive. I don't know.
I actually got schooled about a year ago. I'm sure you've heard me say this, Max. When I'm being playful, when I'm being a little flirty, when I'm tipsy, I tend to get very, very confident, and I'll joke and say like, "Come over here, boy," or "What do you think you're doing, boy?" or something along those lines when I'm talking to a guy. I was out with a group of friends, and a few of them were black, and I'm just using a descriptor. I'm not saying I'm cool for having black friends, but a few of them were black, and at one point I flipped around. Yeah, thank you. At one point I flipped around and I was like, "Boy, what are you doing?" And he pulled me aside later, and he was like, "I just want you to know, when you said that, it offended me." And I was like, okay, is it because I called you a boy and not a man? Because you're a man, I get it. But also, like, what? You have a penis, so does boy, and so like, what? And he was like, no, because actually, if you refer to someone who is black and you call them boy, it is actually demeaning, because you're reminding them of their time in slavery and how you can talk down to them and say, "Hey, boy, get over here." And you're reminding me of a past that I didn't really have, and I don't identify, and I'm not actually a slave. And I was like, yo, I was just flirting. Like, I'm just playing. Like and he was like, "No, you really should not use that. It's actually a microaggression." And it was actually, he didn't say it was triggering, but he kind of was hinting at that was a triggering thing that you said.
No way.
I was like,
that's like if so I come from a very Eastern a very European like background. All my whiteness comes from Sweden, Norway, Ireland, Scotland, like that whole area, northern. Yeah. Same with you. Very similar.
German in there too, but
yeah. Very Icelandic and Viking white. White is the driven snow that our people treaded through on those cold lands all those years ago. But it would be like if someone were to say, so in our fellowship, whenever someone comes into the chat or whenever we talk online, we'll go, "Hail, brother," like it's kind of like a hey, or it's kind of a welcoming. It's like, "Hail," hail to that. Cheers to that. It's
Are
if
you
someone were to go,
mug made out of horns too?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
we're saying
I'm here
hail.
for that.
It's like if someone were to go, "Hail, Max," and I were to go, "You know what? Actually, if you wouldn't mind just not saying that, because my people, they were oppressed by the English, and so they weren't able to say hey." It's like, what are we arguing about here? Are you kidding me? Like, and you could argue that that's not a good example, but there are so many examples throughout history of people being enslaved by other countries, other people, other,
Religions.
that guy blew his shot.
Oh, yeah, he did. He
He
sure did.
didn't, he blew, you know what? He didn't blow his load, he blew his shot. He
Oh, yeah, he definitely did not blow his load.
yeah.
Yeah,
He lost out on
there's
that
none of
one.
that. Real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
This is
what, when you can't enjoy your time with people, when you can't enjoy just being with people and experiencing life, when you're always triggered by something, or when you're always upset by something someone has said, you can't enjoy the great things about other people because you're always worried about being like offended or
right.
whatever. So,
And there's not to say that some of those triggers are real. It's not to say that
yes,
there aren't those who genuinely struggle with something.
Mhm.
But like you and I kind of discussed last night, there is a place and a space for, I genuinely have an issue with X, and I as a human being really need to not talk about X because it's difficult for me.
Mhm.
And there needs to be a space for, I genuinely have anxiety, and it is a real thing, and I really do have panic attacks, and I really do end up hyperventilating to the point that I pass out and I'm covered in sweat and my body's all whatever. But there really does need to be a space for, I actually was in a war zone and now I have PTSD from bombs going off, and loud noises scare me and I can't handle fireworks. Or I was in an abusive relationship, so if someone goes like this with their body, my brain goes, don't hit me. There needs to be a place and a space for that without then having everyone say, oh, I have PTSD from that. No, some people really do. And we do need to respect that, while saying that not everybody who says, oh, I have PTSD, like it shouldn't be a joke. It shouldn't be I need to identify as this because I need to feel special or I need to feel different.
And can you please, before you go any further, can you please say the quote that you brilliantly brought up the other day from The Incredibles that exemplifies this point to a T?
If everybody is special, no one is.
Right.
So if everybody has anxiety, nobody does. If everybody is OCD, nobody is. If everybody is queer, nobody is.
Bravo. And that's the thing. It takes away the agency from people who actually have issues, or who are actually oppressed,
right?
Or who are actually, because sure, there is oppression out there. There is discrimination, or there are all these issues that happen in the world. And I think we get lost in the mire of, is it real or is it not real? Or you're just projecting, or you're just virtue signaling, when it's like, these are real issues, but when you virtue signal, you make them lesser than what they actually, when you try and like, I don't know, send your pseudo moralistic value onto or project that onto other people, and say, you're not a good person if you don't adhere to this, pseudo moralistic value. You're not a good person. And it's so, and we get caught up in that mire so much, when it's like, listen, everyone has their issues, everyone has their brokenness, but if everyone projects it on other people and everyone starts talking about it, because they want that individualistic feeling of like, this is my identity, then we'll never get anywhere, because those who actually have PTSD, those who actually have anxiety, those who actually have been oppressed or whatnot, will never get the help that they need, or never get the treatment they need,
never taken seriously.
Because they'll just be put within the pile of everyone else.
So the home slice who I was hanging out with in Southern California, saying, oh, when you called me boy, it reminded me you're clearly racist. When I moved out to North Carolina, wow, I just identified for myself where I'm at. Whatever. It was very surprising because on several different occasions, my mother and I went down to Myrtle Beach in South Carolina, and I went to go get a new piercing. You can't see in this lighting, but I actually have tons of piercings. But I went down to go get a new piercing, and they had this enormous case of Confederate flag jewelry. And I was like,
wow. You won't see that anywhere else.
No. And then in North Carolina, they genuinely fly Confederate flags. I'm not joking. The first time I saw one, I was like, mother, do you see that? Like, what in the... It's real. So homeboy in Southern California who's saying, oh, you're saying, your boy is reminding me of the time on the field, and blah, 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 blah. Versus actually some people out here who genuinely have the Confederate flag in their face. You don't belong here. You are dirt. Versus someone who's like, oh, I've got anxiety because I need to make a phone call and I don't want to talk to someone. Versus someone who's like, no, I'm currently hyperventilating and everything, like all of a sudden my vision is narrowing. It's the same thing.
By the way, Bruce Lombardo of Dick's Division, thanks for stopping by, dude. I will most likely, when I'm done with this stream, I'll try and head over to yours and we'll raid your stream afterwards and come listen to you. But yeah, thank you so much for listening, man. And yeah, absolutely, Margie is an absolute champion. We are going to watch her do some really incredible things currently and in the future. So definitely go follow her on Instagram if you haven't already. And but yeah, you guys are going to see some great things coming from a true female hero, a true strong female champion and character. Because we're not getting it from Hollywood, we're not getting it from comic books, so we have to get it from real people on this show. So Bruce, thank you for stopping by, brother. So to get back to your point though, Margie, it gives these people with actual issues and actual problems not a single lick of agency or not a single hint of realism, or it just leaves them lacking, and that's unfortunate because these are real problems that aren't being addressed other than to make money or other than to be popular.
To be on the right side of history.
Yes, exactly. To be on the right side of history for when it counts, because when it actually counts, and I showed you that poster the other day, for those of you guys who are watching who haven't seen this, just type in Star Wars or type in John Boyega promo poster, and you'll see that the American promo poster has John Boyega, who is a black character in the Star Wars mythos. He's dead center, straight on in the poster. And then you look at the Chinese poster that they promote, and he has been shrunk down to like maybe a quarter of the size of he is on the American poster, because they have to market to the Chinese in a different way, because Chinese audience doesn't really may not like John Boyega. So if Disney actually cared about these actual issues, they wouldn't put up this bullshit like Reimagine Tomorrow, because they would just fucking do it. We would see it through their actions, not through what they were saying on there. Zach says actual racists don't accidentally offend people and probably don't flirt with the people they're trying to oppress. You've got a point there, Zach. Actual racists, and granted, I have not ever met an actual racist. Maybe because they aren't...
You haven't met me, clearly.
Oh God. Well,
boy.
Maybe I haven't met one because I am a racist. Maybe.
No, you're a misogynist.
Well, I'm both. I'm everything. I'm a white toxic male who's straight and cisgendered and a service member. I got all of them. Blue eyes. I mean, I'm the worst of them all. So
you could be a cop.
Oh God. That would be...
You missed out on that one.
That would be the cherry on top.
Yep.
And I live in California, which means that I'm
in like a super wealthy area.
Yeah, I mean, come on. It's
like I said,
oppression.
The only thing you're missing is a cop.
My oppression of others just seeps from my pores. I just wake up looking to oppress people. That's a joke, and people are going to clip that now, I'm afraid, but they're just going to clip out that certain spot. Yeah.
In trouble.
I have to share this. When I was in Louisiana, I had to notify a father. He said the army was lucky they didn't send... because he would have shot him. Wow. So racism is real. They've made it so everyone is racist. Wow, man, that's
Wait,
incredible.
what?
Notify father. He said the army was like,
Well, one, I'm so sorry you
Jesus.
had to do that job. That I
Yeah.
cannot. That's a never would I. But oh,
Yeah. Alex, thank you for sharing
wow.
that, man, but that is horrifying. Not only did you have to notify the father, but then for him to say that to you is like, God. And that's the thing is like, there are people out there, and Coffee even says, unfortunately, he's met far too many. Maybe I haven't come in contact with them because they've kept to themselves and they've just been judging from the inside and haven't projected it onto anyone.
California has more micro. I hate using the word microaggression, but like
Microaggressors.
when like I shared, my sister is, I have one white sister and one black sister. I have a sister who looks literally like me, but she's smaller. And then I have my Ethiopian sister. So at one point we had, we were at the beach and my two sisters were playing, and this super wealthy, we were at the beach in a really wealthy neighborhood in California, in Southern California. And a mom was playing and she said to her kid, don't play with the black one, which is like,
Oof.
or people who in the grocery store, what we were sharing, we would say, yeah, we adopted her from Ethiopia. And someone would say, well, why did you get a black one? To which my angry 15-year-old kid at the time shot back, because there weren't any purple ones. But like,
jeez,
there are microaggressions. That it is real, and it's not quite so big as like I'm gonna fly a Confederate flag as it may be on the East Coast, because I don't know what the hell happened down here, but everyone else is. It's there. It's there. It's just a little bit more sneaky.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right, brother. Way too much white privilege. I'm full of it.
Oh, you did forget one. Christian.
Wow. That's so instead of cop,
Yeah.
put Christian on there. Yeah, if you guys
No,
if
you're
you guys
still missing cop. I'll say that, but you're
military
white, cisgender, heterosexual, military, Christian in Southern California, United States.
I might as well just throw in the towel now. I mean, I'm I'm literally what people think of as just the absolute alt-right Yahtzee. Yeah, it's bad, and you're right. The alt-right, just way too much white privilege. It's terrible. So yeah, no, Christian is another one to add onto the list that really irks people. Like really, like it's now become a thing where it's like if you're a Christian, it's not just like people go, oh well, okay. It's like they are mad at you. They're like, why would you believe there's an imaginary man in the sky? It's like, whoa, dude. I never tried to, well, granted, some evangelists will try and project onto other people and go, you need God and you need Jesus. And it's like, listen, I'm just trying to live my life as a Christian, man.
Not all Christians.
Yeah, not all Christians. Hashtag. You still have time to become a cop. I don't know, man. This YouTube, this YouTube gig. Yeah. Coffee, you aren't middle aged yet. At least I have that going for me. That's one thing I have. One tick mark that's like positive. But I'm getting up there, man. I'm 28, so I'm getting there.
Don't.
Yeah. Right. By the way, I know we're getting into the 2-hour, 15-minute territory. So at any point, if you need to head out, just let me know.
Yeah, I should probably start wrapping it up soon.
Okay, sounds good. I will. I'll bring this up, and I will just say that even though we didn't get to go like frame by frame with this,
we don't have enough time for frame by frame. You can. Oh no.
We could literally go through this whole thing second by second and go, this is what's wrong. This is what's wrong. But we won't, because we won't need to, because the ratio. Here, let me refresh it real quick. The ratio speaks for itself. It is almost. We started the stream at like 850. It's almost at 900 now.
At 850.
Yeah, it's yeah. So you guys definitely go check it out for yourself. It's when people go, I wonder, why don't I get any representation, or why can't I see myself on the big screen or whatever? it's because Disney's projecting of this stuff isn't working, and they're not doing it in a genuine and authentic manner. And so it comes across as cynical and just like we said before, garbage.
Inclusive for the point of being on the right side of history.
On
Garbage.
the right side of history, yeah. And I don't have any more articulate words other than just to say, look at the ratio. And this isn't.
You don't need to be verbose when it talks for itself.
Right. When it speaks for itself, and people are going to say, oh, it's YouTube bots or it's the alt-right that are trying to project on our video. And like, I guarantee you, man,
shut the hell up.
It's for sure not critical race theory propaganda from here on out with Disney. I guarantee you, and I haven't looked through all the comments, but I'm sure there are people on here who are in the minority, or who might be a person of color, or a person who identifies with a different gender or whatnot. And I guarantee you, even they're saying like, dude, this is a little much, like cool it. So I don't know. Let's see. Oh God, Coffee goes, I'm all that plus middle-aged. Coffee, no.
Wow, rest in peace, my man.
Dude,
the
he
worst
beat me.
of the worst.
He is the if there's such thing as the oppression Olympics, he is
Coffee
like
wins.
Coffee wins, but he is like the least oppressed, right? I don't know. Alex, this was cool, guys. Thank you. Looking forward to more. Bye.
Thanks for checking
Alex,
in.
thank you. Yeah, thank you so much for stopping in, and thank you for sharing your experiences, man. That was awesome. That was really, really cool of you. Zax, don't forget you were an officer, right? Ordering people around, super toxic. Yeah, you know what? I did have Marines that were under my that were in my platoon that were different genders, different races.
Scum.
And yes, I was,
officer
giving them orders. Oh God, man, we're just getting worse and worse.
Would you like a shovel? Just dig that hole a little faster.
I'm already 6 feet under. It's too late. Well, I will leave the floor to you. So like, where can we find you? What is your next meet, or what's some of your next goals? And maybe we'll see you here soon on another stream. Maybe we on like a comic book review or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll give the floor to you so that you can go ahead and kind of end our stream here.
Sure. Well, thanks so much for listening, you guys, and listening to I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just sharing my own personal opinions. But the next meet I've got coming up is I'm training for and hoping to qualify for the American Open Finals. It's a national level, United States only meet. I've got to add somehow magically 15 kilos to my total and take 10 kilos off my body. So it's a little crazy. I've got like 2.5 months to do it, but we're going to see what happens. If you want to follow me, you can follow me at Margie McClure on Instagram. That's really the only platform I'm super active on. I have a Facebook, but I'm not middle-aged, so I don't use it all that often. Instagram's the place to go. It's primarily my animals and me lifting. It's nothing super exciting, nothing super crazy. I try to keep my political thoughts off of social media before I get myself in trouble. Is that all, Max?
Yeah, no, I think that's perfect. Thank you. Zach says, great interview. Thanks. I'll definitely watch the beginning on replay. Margie seems cool. She is cool, man. There's a reason why I brought her on. There's a reason why she's been my friend for, God, decades now.
Because I wouldn't let you unfriend me.
Yeah. Because she kept coming. I'd kind of distance myself and I'd go, I'm going to just read a comic book. And she'd go, no. We're hanging out. We're gonna go grab a beer, and we're gonna go talk. And I'd be like, "All right." So
that's super accurate.
yeah, 100%. So Zach, no, thank you, man, for joining. And yeah, she is awesome. Catch the full replay. I'll post this to the channel right afterwards, so you guys can see it. Her website is in the description below. Her Instagram is pinned on the comment in the chat, so you guys can follow that. But like I said, I'd love to have her back. So we'll talk behind the scenes and see if we can get her in here for some comic book talk. And yeah, for those of you guys who are saying, oh, she's just a lifter or whatever, she doesn't really know anything about our culture. She is an avid D&D player and WoW player as well, hence the headset. So don't let her
mini is. I moved my
Yeah.
minis. They were on my desk before.
Don't let her strong facade fool you. Though she is strong and fierce, she also has a geeky dorky side, just like all of us. So hello there. Well, like I said, thank you guys for stopping by. Look forward to seeing Margie either here on this channel or on her Instagram. I would love to have her back on, but you guys are awesome. Thanks again for swinging by, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Appreciate it, guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.